Hi, I'm Katrina Ward, a student of clinical exercise physiology at the University of New England, and this is my sport and exercise psychology presentation on motivational interviewing and its principles and practices. Now imagine this, a client sits in front of you. They've been told by their doctor, their family, their friends that they need to start an exercise program, but nothing has changed. Now what you say next can help determine everything. Most Australians know the benefits of exercise for their mental health, but also for chronic long-term illnesses such as cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and dementia. But according to the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare, in 2022, only 46% of Australians were meeting the recommended guidelines. This has increased from 2017-2018 data. However, we still need to see more Australians exercising. Some of the barriers include cost, time, and energy. An authoritarian response to your client would be uninspiring and potentially have the opposite effect of what was intended. Most adults don't like being told what to do. And this comes down to one of those three basic needs as outlined by the self-determination theory, and that is autonomy. We want to make our decisions autonomously, and how much this is fulfilled can determine our levels of motivation. At the heart of motivational interviewing is collaboration. Our role as clinicians is to form a partnership and try and understand our client or patient, their motivations, and draw from them their reasons for change. We want to empower them to believe they can make positive changes. The guiding principles of motivational interviewing are outlined by the acronym RULE. R stands for resisting the writing reflex. It's not our job to give our clients advice. We want to explore their motivations for change and look at the barriers to those changes. U is to understand your client. Get to know them. Be curious. What are their values? What are their likes? What are their dislikes? L is to listen with empathy. We want to take that non-judgmental approach to what our client is telling us. For example, they might say, I try to exercise when I get home from work, but I'm just too tired. Instead of trying to fix it or taking that authoritarian approach of saying, just do it, push through, you could say, it sounds like you're trying to implement this exercise program, but you're just finding your current energy levels are not helping. And E is to empower the client. Guide them to look at what they can do to achieve their goals and make this change. We're trying to give them the confidence that they can achieve this, perhaps by exploring other areas of their life where they have made these changes in the past. There are two phases to motivational interviewing. The first phase is building that motivation to change. Here is where we use the acronym of OARS. This creates camaraderie and connection with our client and establishes that therapeutic relationship. O stands for asking open-ended questions. We want to ask questions that don't require a yes or no answer. The client should do most of the speaking in this, and an example would be, I understand that you're concerned about your current lack of exercise. Can you tell me more about that? A is for affirmations, validation for your client, statements of understanding, compliments. For example, thank you for being so honest about your concerns and the concerns of others. I can appreciate that must have been really difficult for you. R is for reflections. We want to rephrase statements to capture their feeling and their meaning. For example, it sounds like the concerns of your loved ones about not exercising are affecting you, and now your doctor is telling you it's affecting your health, and you'd like to look at seeing if you can change your exercise behavior. And S is for summarizing. So something you would do at the end of your session just to summarize what you discussed with your client today. For example, to make sure I understand what we've talked about today, your doctor has highlighted some health problems you're experiencing associated with not exercising. Your friends and family have expressed concern about this as well. But in the past, your initial attempts to start exercising haven't lasted very long, and you find time and energy a barrier. But you'd like to see if you could start an exercise program, enjoy it, and stick to it. Does that sound accurate? The second phase of motivational interviewing is strengthening your client's commitment to change. Here's where talking about next steps or actions planned and goals can be really beneficial. Firstly, you want to elicit a little bit more change talk from the client. For example, what are the benefits of making this change now? What happens if you don't make the change? Perhaps asking them, what would your life look like in 1 to 5 years if you were to make this change? Then we want to strengthen their confidence to make the change. For example, focusing on other positive attributes in their life, where they've made changes in other areas of their life, or perhaps where in the past they have done exercise and stuck to it. What was different about there? You'd like your client to walk away with the clear next steps. So for example, asking, what do you think the next step might be from here? Or if I saw you in 4 weeks' time, what will have changed? An importance ruler can be really helpful here as well. 0 being not important at all and 10 being extremely important. Asking your client to rank themselves on the ruler of how important this change is to them. Assuming they rank themselves higher than a 5, ask them why they weren't a 0 and what would it take them to get to a 10. When using our motivational interviewing techniques, we want to ensure we're careful when they're not trying to move them too quickly before change. Thinking about the areas of change on the trans-theoretical model, where are they in that stage of change? Tailor your approach to that. If there is too much resistance, perhaps try and continue to ask those open-ended questions and the client can reflect on those. For example, the client may say they don't see the point in exercising. They've tried in the past and they end up stopping. You could say, that's really frustrating. You've actually put the effort in and it didn't last. And it's completely your choice whether you revisit it now or not. But I'm curious, what would need to be more different for it to feel more doable? Remember that the heart of the motivational interviewing process is collaboration and trying to enable your client to decide on this change of behavior for themselves.